Hello, I'm Christoph Lueneburger with Egon Zehnder International. I'm here with Yvon Chouinard, the founder and chairman of Patagonia. Yvon, thank you for welcoming us here in your old tool shed.
You're welcome.
We're here because we're keen to speak just a bit about Patagonia and what you've built here, specifically around the culture of this company. One of the things we just talked about before beginning to shoot is surfing, and it reminded me of the let my people go surf attitude here. And I'm wondering, was that always part of the way that you've run the company, or was there a point where you had to course correct and get back on the track that you thought was right?
No, that was always the way we ran the company, because we were climbers and surfers and outdoor people, and none of us had studied business. None of us intended to be businessmen. And when we finally decided that we were going to have to work the rest of our lives, we decided to create a company that we wanted to go to work in. And the key is hiring very, very independent, smart people. That's the key. Mm-hmm. In fact, we've had a psychologist come here and do a study of employees, and he said, you know, I got to tell you, your employees are so independent, they're really unemployable anywhere else. You hire them, and if they don't need any training or anything, you just leave them alone. Yeah. So that's what Let My People Go Surfing is about, is that when the surf comes up, you go surfing. You don't go next Tuesday at 3 o'clock. So we just let people do their job. We don't care when they work or how they work, as long as the job gets done. Right. That should be your only concern as a manager.
In pursuing initiatives that are good, sometimes initiatives where up front you don't really know whether they're going to be profitable. How do you encourage your people to keep asking questions that prod them on, that make them wonder, how could we do this thing even better, when it would be quite easy for them to rest on the laurels of the brand Patagonia, which are quite strong?
Well, we haven't figured that out, really. I mean, most people don't like change. And if you're going to have a company that intends to be here for a long time, you have to constantly reinvent the company, constantly change. Otherwise, you'll slowly die. So my job is to constantly push. You know, I say I'm the burr under the saddle, you know, that gets the horse to run faster. So I constantly have to push so that the company accepts a new idea or a change.
And how do you do that? How do you push? What do you do?
Well, I just have to be like a bulldog sometimes. I mean, you'd be surprised. You know, a company this size rejects any new project sometimes.
Yvon, in the years since founding Patagonia, was there ever a point when you were worried about the company?
Oh yeah, we were making all the same mistakes every company makes. Just going for growth without thinking about what we're doing, opening more wholesale accounts, opening more retail stores, advertising, just, you know, feeding this growth. And one day at a company meeting, I put a 1 and a 0, 0, 0 clear across the room, and I said, this is how big we're going to be at 50% growth a year in 40 years. And it was, you know, it's absurd, of course. And so that was when we decided that we were going to start doing things differently. We were going to start running the company as if it's going to be here 100 years from now, which means controlling our growth, which means getting out of debt. You know, my company is debt-free right now. I haven't talked to a banker in 20 years.
Good on you.
And also, you know, making long-term decisions. We've tried to always ask every year, are we the proper size for what we're trying to do? You know, when you learn to ski, your growth curve isn't like this. Your growth curve is like this. You know, you take a lesson, boom, you go out on another plateau, and you stay on that plateau forever, and then all of a sudden you make another breakthrough. And That's the way a growth of a company should be. Whereas most public companies are like this, 15% every year, no matter what. And they're on a suicide course.
When you think about this next generation of consumers, younger people who have a more intuitive appreciation for why things need to change in advance, do you think there's going to be more of a receptiveness to this idea of a handprint, of talking about how Patagonia does things that actually advance the cause rather than just minimize the negative?
Well, you know, that's already happening. This millennium generation, the 13 to 20-something year old, they're already our customers. And one of the reasons why we're doing so well in a recession is because people are supporting us, especially young people. They're not believing in advertising. They're not listening to advertising. They're communicating among themselves. Your product, they can kill your product overnight. You know, virally, you can kill your product. We did an ad in the New York Times on Black Friday, and there's a photo of one of our most popular jackets, and it said, "Don't buy this jacket." And in the copy it says, think twice before you buy a product from us. Do you really need it, or are you just bored, or whatever? And to try to, the problem with destroying the planet is us. It's not the corporations, it's not the government, we're the problem. We're the consumers. Right. What we're trying to do is encourage people to use that power of consuming to do some good with it. In other words, consume from companies that are trying to be more responsible, buy their products, support them, and buy better quality. So don't keep buying fashion stuff that's going to go out of fashion in a year or two. If you're going to buy a blender, don't buy this cheap blender. As soon as you put a piece of ice in there, it's going to blow out the motor. Save up, wait until you can buy one that'll last the rest of your life.
What would you like to be true 10 years from now about this company that's not true already today?
I feel like my job is done, actually. I feel like I'm already 10 years from now. I feel like we've influenced enough other companies and enough, entrepreneurs of thinking in a different way of doing business that I feel like, personally, my job is done.
That's a good legacy.
Yeah, it feels pretty good, actually.
Yvon, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.